Getting the smile and confidence you've been dreaming about, all from the comfort of your home, isn't a total mystery with Bite clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all your friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Bite clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together, we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th.
We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Somebody please think of the children!
Oh, man. And welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly minisode where we kind of go a little bonkers. No, we dig into things that we've been watching recently. I'm Terry.
And I am Mary Beth, and this is Liquid Death Severed Lime, and this week we're talking about an incredible prequel, Siblings and Demons, a horrendous docuseries, and some weird space creatures.
Weird space creatures. Oh, jeez.
Before we jump in, I just want to provide a quick update on my cat, because I know that everyone is waiting with bated breath about Zucchini's health. Dramatic King. So this man decided on Monday morning at 7:30 o'clock in the morning, Jesus mother of God, I can't speak, 7:30 in the morning, when his automatic dispenser goes off, that it is fucking time to go. So he jets out, and we deduced this after the effect, but sprints out from underneath a chair in our bedroom, lets out the worst howl I've ever heard him let out. Long story short, he bruised his butt or leg somehow, but when he went to the vet, he just acted like he wasn't hurting whatsoever. So we spent 5 hours and $300 to find out that our cat's a drama queen. And now he's strung out on kitty opioids in our living room, and he's having a great time. So that's what's going on with my cat.
Postponed a recording for us because
I know
drama king.
I'm from 1 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. was in the emergency vet with this cat, like paranoid he was dying. He wasn't. He just bruised himself getting too excited for breakfast.
Oh, man.
Such an idiot. But
a lovable idiot boy.
Idiot son.
Well, let's start things off on a movie with a good girl in it. Let's talk about this incredible prequel.
This incredible prequel is Prey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It is our latest Predator film. It is a prequel set in the 1700s, directed by Dan Trachtenberg of 10 Cloverfield Lane fame. And it stars Naru, played by the incredible Amber Midthunder, a Comanche warrior who discovers that there is a predator about stalking and killing things, and it's about her trying to protect her village and her family and herself and her fucking badass dog, who is the best dog.
The best girl.
And this movie fucking rules. Fucking rules. Like, I saw someone talking about this on Twitter, and I cannot remember who said it, and I'm so sorry. If you're a listener, I apologize. But they're like, this is how you do prequels. Like, take these villains and like, villains, creatures, things that kind of exist outside of our time and space, and put them in different time periods and see how people interact. Like, this is a movie, it's the Comanche tribe, it is indigenous representation, there's a Comanche dub for the film, but there is a lot of Comanche in the film that also has English dialogue, which is great. And I mean, good Lord, this is how you do it. I mean, how you do it being a prequel, it being representation in horror, it being like how you just revitalize a franchise that's entries have not been great. Like, it just checks all those boxes.
It is very, very good. I was incredibly excited to see how well done it was, to see how much it honors the first Predator movie and the second Predator movie to some extent. With there's some callbacks that obviously geeks are going to go, "Ooh, that's really cool." And there's a couple Easter eggs, like there's a pistol that I was freaking out over when I saw it. So there's like little bits of Easter eggs there. But what I really liked about it is that because I'm not a fan of prequels, and you'll hear about this a little bit on Monday when we talk to our guest as well. But I'm not a huge fan of them. Because it's a story that we don't really necessarily need. It's backstory. It might be, character backstory a lot of times. There might be stuff that is not central to the plot being told, and it just feels a little repetitive. This did not, because while it is a prequel and because it's set beforehand, it doesn't really, it doesn't really feel like it's overly explaining, the origins of the creature or whatever the case may be. But I also love that this movie sort of, a little bit, not as much as what happens between like Arnold and this time period, but it sort of takes back the technology for the Predator as well.
Yes,
in such a fantastic way.
That.
I love being able to see, this is what, Predators 300 years before they would eventually run into Arnold and his crew, what their technology looked like. It's still way more advanced than anything we have, but it's like you still can see that there was, this is what would eventually become this, and this is what eventually would become this, and the skull cap that he wears is so fucking badass.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the Predator looked more like feral in this movie.
It definitely did, and I get that was something that I really, really liked, that it's not having the same Predator we've always seen with the same tricks.
Yeah.
It's this is what the Predator is a species like humans, and while they are more evolved than humans, they're also still evolving like us. They aren't a pinnacle of something. They're not at a perfect form. Mm-hmm. It's this really interesting showing of the evolution of a creature that I don't think we get enough of. I think we just get usually that one form. I mean, yeah, we'll have Jason in different masks and stuff like that, but you don't see with aliens and things this kind of cool evolution. In Alien you do a little bit because you obviously see the actual evolution of the alien, but here it's the technological side.
Yeah.
And I just really, that's badass. It's just badass. And to all the haters out there saying a woman with a axe can't beat a Predator, suck my ass. Arnold Schwarzenegger only beat the Predator in the first movie with traps and stuff. Shut up.
Everyone talking about how this movie is either so woke and that's a problem, or that it's that she is a Mary Sue. I'm you obviously don't understand what a Mary Sue is, because she fails a lot. She charges into situations that she wouldn't have. She's headstrong and it backfires. She does things that are not, successful, but she learns and she realizes that she is not going to be able to go toe to toe with it, and is able to use her smarts to outwit it in the same way any good hero does in any of these Predator movies, where they are outgunned and outmatched and out everything. You have to learn how to adapt, and that is what she does. And so hearing that in particular, just it burns it gets me so angry, because people said the same thing about Rey from Star Wars, right? That she's just a Mary Sue, and I'm no, you wouldn't be saying this if it was Luke in the same situation, because it was Luke in the same situation, and no one seemed to have a problem. It just burns my chaps. And
it being woke, I'm sorry, does just having badass indigenous people on screen scream woke to you? That should just be a thing. It's not trying to cram anything down your throat. Who gives a and that's what's so frustrating in seeing that people think woke is putting Indigenous woman in a movie. Like, that's not... It's just like the way that representation should work in movies. Like, sure, if that's what you think woke is, but it's not trying to like push some weird identity politics down your throat. It's trying to be like, look, this is some badass shit that you can do in horror movies and check these boxes and make something really awesome and respectful. Like, it's a very possible thing, and it can go on Hulu and be incredibly successful. I mean, it just hit like the most successful premiere they've ever had on the platform, which just makes me sad it wasn't in theaters. Like, again, I understand it, and I'm glad that people could see it on Hulu. Like, that's that thing of being able. But fuck, this would be so good in a theater. Like, just some of the action set pieces in this. I mean, Jesus. The fucking predator fights a goddamn grizzly bear. I mean, come on.
That scene where he's holding it above him and the blood is drenching down and you can start to see his form through it.
That's the only part of this movie that is a little bit difficult is the CGI with the animals.
The animal
but also
CGI
at the same time,
is a little rough.
It's a little rough.
But I feel that way about most animals that are CG.
Yeah, it's not like abysmal, but it definitely is a little bit jarring when it's like great.
Especially
the bear.
the lion. Was it a lion? The cat.
Oh yeah, the giant like mountain lion. Yeah, so like the budget shows a little. Like, it's interesting that like the budget shows a little bit there, because a lot of the predator like is practical, but there are parts when he's obviously in the cloaking technology that isn't always also like the best, but Hulu. Lower-ish budget, I guess, you do what you can. You do what you can.
I do have a question.
Okay.
What do you think his penis looks like?
Steve and I were laughing like, wait, he's just in undies.
I'm just saying he could get it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And I'm curious. Is it like...
Hey, yo, predator, what that mouth do?
Girl. But is it... I mean, is it like, Shape of Water? How do I...
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like a little opening. That's like a...
What's that?
It's like a shadow puppet.
That's the gif of from... I think that's... I'm like looking at the gif trying to mimic it. It's like...
With Sally.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Hand tied. Is it... How do I do?
I thought it was like opening.
Yeah, how does that work? I'm just saying. But also the actor that plays the predator. I mean, he's very attractive. I just posted it in chat. He has biceps.
Oh wow. Okay. Arms.
What those arms do. I'm just saying.
Hey, yo, boy, what them arms do. Oh, wow, he plays a lot of monsters.
Mm-hmm. I think he's probably a very physical actor.
Oh.
You know what I mean. He was in Sweet Home. You saw Sweet Home, right? I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Also, was her brother Tabe?
Yeah.
Tabe. Dakota Beavers. He's a very attractive man. And on that note, let's talk about your movie that you brought with you. What am I saying? I don't even fucking know. Siblings and Demons. What movie is this? All right.
This is a movie written and directed by Perry Blackshear, who is a writer and director, and he did They Look Like People and did The Siren. And we are... Spoiler alert, we're going to talk with the director. We've already recorded it. It's going to come out the week after this movie comes out. And I originally felt a little gauche trying to talk about this movie, even though we're interviewing him. But this movie, I think, is kind of special. It surprised the heck out of me. It is about a pair of siblings who have had a rough life. And the sister is being stalked by someone, and has been her entire life, and she's a fighter. Her brother is kind of like anxious and scared in his own skin, and between the two of them, they have to try to come together and fight back against whatever is stalking the sister. And it's a very powerful movie that is rooted in a lot of guilt and a lot of pain, a lot of trauma. as the two have kind of had to rely on each other for their entire child life and also in their adult life. And they've had a messy time. When the movie opens, the sister, Daphne, is trying to adopt, and the adoption person is like, hey, so you had a rough 20s and you were here before in the 20s and in your 20s and we turned you down then, and what's changed now? And it's like this very rough mediation on struggling to do right and trying to survive when the world seems willing to just tear out your throat. And it's an emotional movie. There's one part about like at the very, I think it's maybe the inciting incident almost. It's about 15 to 18 minutes in, and it is a harrowing moment. And it just, I don't know, this movie really affected me in a lot of ways. I think it's something that we've seen a lot of films that kind of deal with childhood trauma as adults and trying to unpack it. But this one felt very, I don't know, authentic, and the chemistry between the brother and sister is just, it's phenomenal. And then there is a character actor turn by McLeod Andrews, who I really enjoyed in a movie called A Ghost Waits. And he brings such chaotic energy at one point in this film that it's just like, it just revitalizes the film once it starts to feel very heavy. And I don't know, it's a really special movie. And the embargo is up today as this episode drops, and the movie comes out a week from today. And then that following week we'll be talking with the director. So I really recommended it.
Yeah, and Perry Blackshear is a really talented director.
Yeah.
I think he has kind of a similar trajectory to Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead in terms of making these really beautiful, emotional horror movies that are scary, but also
intimate.
They're very intimate and tap into kind of like the human condition and like a much more kind of like contemplative horror that is good at balancing scares and like examination of people. And The Siren, which he did, is a really good, as I think, if you like spring, you'll like The Siren. It's a romance horror movie and it's beautiful. And then he did They Look Like People. So he's just really got a knack for that type of horror. So I highly recommend, if you like the works of Benson and Moorhead and like kind of more maybe intimate relationship horror movies, definitely this one. This one and all of his work, his 3 films, are for you.
Yeah. Pivoting, maybe hard, because I don't really know what this is. What is this horrendous docu-series?
So I say horrendous not because of how it was made, but the subject matter. This is The Most Hated Man on the Internet, which is a docuseries on Netflix, which is about human cesspool Hunter Moore, who made the revenge porn site Is Anyone Up? And the docuseries documents how Hunter Moore kind of rose to popularity when the scene aesthetic vibe, the scene kind of was rising. And so this is when I was in the younger end of this, but this was like with MySpace and the emo screamo band scene was kind of on the rise. And so I was growing up a little bit more on the tail end, but in high school I was kind of in that world. I wanted to be seen. I was not seen, but I wanted to be like a cool kid with like a lip ring and cool hair. But Hunter Moore was a product of this, and his site, Is Anyone Up, was a place where people could submit their own nudes, but then it became people started submitting other people's nudes to get revenge. And so it spirals into this horrendous website where he's like, they're doxing women and like women's nudes are being posted, and it's just it's like your worst fucking nightmare, especially like when the internet is new and like you're thinking you're sending photos to someone you can trust, and then they, use them against you. And so it's setting that context and then documents like how he gets taken down. Because fun fact, revenge porn in like the late aughts, early 2010s was not illegal on the federal or state level. So you could do this, and if the person was of age, it was not illegal, and there was nothing you could do to get it taken down.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Neither did I until I watched this fucking show. So, like, this guy's ruining lives, and a woman's daughter gets posted on the site, and she decides, like, fuck this dude. Like, she's a rich white woman married to an attorney, so she has these resources and privilege to be like, fuck this dude, which is great. But it's an interesting kind of look at that dynamic, too, of, like, who gets to get justice. Because a lot of people interviewed in this are women who, like, one woman was a sex worker who got ridiculed on the site because she was trying to make money to, like, raise her kid, and she was doing some like stuff online to try to like generate income, and then she lost custody of her kid because of the site and like all this crazy shit. And so this woman comes in and is able to try to help victims, which is great, but again, it's because she's a rich white lady who has this privilege. And you know, Hunter saw himself as Charles Manson. Like, he called himself Charles Manson.
Ew.
And, like, wanted people... Like, it's disgusting. Like, it's... When I say horrendous, it's disgusting. Like, he's human trash. Like, this guy has no remorse for what he did. Like, didn't care. He's like, I want to fuck bitches. I want bitches to snort coke off my boner. And they would. Like, women were obsessed with him. And so, like... It feeds off of this, like, it's disgustingly misogynistic time period on the internet, and in a very kind of chauvinist, misogynist group of people. Like, again, it was very focused on, like, this alt-scene community. And so it's just, like, absolutely gross. And so the show documents how terrible a person he is and how hard it was to take him down. The show shows how he only got taken down because they could prove that something he did was illegal, not because of the site, but because of how he got someone to hack into people's emails to steal their nudes. So that's how he got caught, but it took years, and like they couldn't take things, like you couldn't take anything down. Even if he requested it, he'd laugh at people. It's terrible. Like, this guy is the most repulsive person. She thinks so too. And so it's 3 episodes. It's like a little less than 60 minutes each, and it's just a really especially if you are of my generation who grew up, like, we're like teenagers or young adults with MySpace and the internet, and kind of this, like, I was sending nudes in high school, don't arrest me, I was a dumb kid, whatever. And so, like, this was like my worst nightmare. So watching it now and being like, and having had something similar like that happen to me, not to like the extreme of a website, but having someone circulate like explicit photos of me to people, like, it's fucked, and it's just terrifying, and it just it made me feel so gross, because this guy is just like scum of the earth.
He sounds kind of like the Girls Gone Wild guy.
Yeah,
because that would have been my generation in terms of like, I think that started in like 97 or 98, somewhere around there, and that would have been when I was hitting high school. At that point, I would have been like, gosh, sophomore, junior in high school, I think, when that started. And that was this sounds much worse in a lot of regards, but it's still the same kind of these douchebag men profiting off of women sexuality, nudity, and that kind of shit.
Yeah, and like, it was interesting because they had a guy that had his nudes put on there too, which is interesting because a lot of, obviously, like a majority of the victims of this site were women, but there were some men too. Like, it's just like, it's just, if you want to watch something about dirtbag internet times, this is the one to watch. And I was telling Steve when we were watching it, it's so interesting to see documentaries made about this time when I was growing up. But, because I'm younger, I'm 29. And so a lot of documentaries are usually filmed like about things that took place like maybe even a couple years before I was like really engaged in that like zeitgeist. But this one is like so directly part of I didn't really know about Hunter Moore, but like my age experience, like that experience with the internet at a young age, it's just like, Jesus Christ, like how much, like, we're going to get so much more of this stuff. And it's just so fucked up. Like how much the internet has exacerbated these horrendous tendencies of humanity. It's wild. You're gonna watch it and be very angry. Like, this guy is repulsive. The things he said, the things he's done, his attitude about women, like, it's disgusting. So yeah, if you want to watch a real life horror story, the most hated man on the internet, it's fucked. So good times.
Good times.
Shifting away from like actual horrendous human creatures to silly, like almost cute, creepy space creatures, we're back on horror comedies. And what movie did we watch for our glorious return, Jerry?
It doesn't get any better. We watched Critters from 1986.
We watched Critters!
A movie that I personally find both... It straddles the line between horror comedies so perfectly, because there are some moments in this that I still, even now, find incredibly anxiety-driven. Even though these creatures are small little puffballs with fangs, there's a couple of scenes in this movie that I still find quite frightening, to be perfectly honest, in terms of like the viciousness of it. And then that's coupled by creatures getting blasted by a shotgun and the other one saying "fuck" and one getting lit on fire.
I was losing my goddamn mind when he's like, they got weapons, so what? And then he gets his ass blown away with the shotgun. And he just goes, fuck! He's just...
And another one, he gets lit on fire and he goes zooming off into the bathroom and pops into the toilet and goes, ah. Like, it just straddles that line between horror and comedy. Because I do find that a lot of times when you have horror comedies, you either have horror comedies or you have horror comedies.
Yes.
And I do feel this one kind of straddles that middle line, but I also have a lot of history with this movie, and I know you don't. So I'm curious, what was your experience with this movie?
So I knew this much about this movie. Well, okay, I knew a little bit more because I knew what they looked like.
So
I did not...
What's it about, I guess?
Oh. Okay, so Critters is about an alien species called the Krite. Is it the Krite? They call it the Krite? Who escape
Show me the Krites.
Show me the Krites. Escape from a ship and steal their most powerful ship and escape to Earth. And then two bounty hunters are assigned to go find the Krite and destroy them because the Krite are a problem. I did not know the Krite were actually aliens. I thought it was like a gremlin situation. They just kind of like were like little monsters. I didn't know that they were aliens. At the beginning, I was like, I'm sorry, is this the right movie?
Am I watching Star Wars?
I was texting Terry. I was like, I'm sorry, what is happening? Because the first like couple of minutes are nothing like the rest of the movie in terms of like it's on a spaceship in space. I was like, what? It
looks like rejects from a Star Wars movie. Like it looks like you kind of rip off like Basement Barn. Asylum level alien. Like this is like there's a guy that's in a floating thing and he looks like he should be serving Jabba the Hutt, really.
Exactly. And the bounty hunters have like weird, like no faces, and that they morph into other people. But so the Krite land in like small town America and on a farm or in like a farm town, and the tone switches pretty quickly to the Krite just start fucking decimating everybody, and the bounty hunters are looking for them and also decimating everybody. And there's a bowling tournament, and Dee Wallace is a bad bitch, and Billy Zane is
in this movie with hair.
With hair. So I definitely went into this movie thinking, I was like, okay, it's going to be like a Gremlins situation. I expected a Gremlins situation. It's called Critters. They're small, little, fuzzy things. I was just like, associated them. This is Gremlins grown up. And much more intense, which is saying a lot though, because Gremlins is intense. I know, I love Gremlins, but this is like Gremlins, but with creatures with even more intelligence and malice in their hearts, and a lot more fucked up teeth. When they're just rolling around like little dust bunnies, like towards the house, I was cackling. I was like, I am both scared and can't stop laughing at these stupid fucking things. They're incredible. They're both kind of cute and scary as shit. I love them.
And they take such sick glee in everything that they do.
They do. They're just so
They're so horrible.
So giggly.
And I love them.
They're so mean. I love them.
It's also like a home invasion movie.
It is a home invasion. So what I also really loved, because like there's a little bit of a wider story with like the bounty hunters, but a lot of it is on this farm with this family of 4 who are trying to survive, all 4 together. And that's so interesting because a lot of the time in these movies, like the family unit doesn't function that well together. And here, you know, they have their mishaps, but they're a generally pretty cohesive family unit, especially when like the shit hits the fan and everyone starts like kind of like pitching in to save things and help. Like they're all pretty good as a unit. And I was actually pretty surprised by that. It's like one of the better horror families I think I've seen in the genre. Like one of the more like, happy's not the right word, but like kind of maybe functional.
They also feel kind of
families
grounded and real. Like, it does feel like a real family. Because, I mean, particularly, like, the dad is a little bit of a hard ass, but you can tell he has a heart of gold. The mom is, like, you know, laughing at the kid for trying to call in sick and with a thermometer in the sink, which I've done.
106 degrees.
And the kid and the sister don't get along. And, you know, so there's, I don't know, it feels really authentic. And so when the alien invasion happens, it feels like it's your family in a way.
Yeah. And like, which again is a really interesting tonal shift, because like at one point there's even a fucking like music video scene where they're singing a song, and I'm just like, what is, and again, that was what I was texting Tara, like, what is happening? Like, what is this movie? I don't understand. And then it changes pretty quickly into a little bit more like tense, but it's wild in a great way. I had a very good time also watching this.
I'll just say I think the bounty hunters are non-binary, because, and it doesn't happen so much in this movie, but in the sequel, if I remember correctly, I thought it happened in this movie, but in the sequel, one of the bounty hunters sees a picture of a porn star and turns into a woman. I'm gonna say these are non-binary bounty hunters.
Yeah, because like, was it what like one of them tries to transform and they're like, nothing likes me, or like nothing will take me. Like, they're trying to pick a form, and they're just like, pick a form, like a passable human form. And it is really, I didn't think about that, but yeah.
I also just love that the one picks a rock star and becomes a hairband.
It just
John Bon Jovi wannabe,
incredible.
Played by Terrence Mann, who I recognized from 30 Rock.
Wow.
He's in an episode of 30 Rock playing Bob Ballard, who is a real person, but not in 30 Rock.
He does kind of look like Bob Ballard. All right. I see it. I also will say, do we care about spoilers for this movie from 1986? Okay, so there's a part at the end that's really fucking impressive. Their house is blown up, and then it reconstructs, and it's all done practically, and it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, it is absolutely incredible how they piece this house back together. It's been blown to pieces by the Kreitz,
which I thought was so fucking hilarious, where they take off from their ship and they stop to blow the house up, sort of like a big fuck you, as they're flying back off to space before they blow up. But it's incredible. And so the house is in splinters, and the bounty hunters gave them a fun little device, and they click on it, and it makes the house come back together. Cute, kind of cheesy ending, but the way that it's done is incredible. Very impressive. And the cat lives. All four family members live, and the cat. I was like, 10 out of 10. Incredible movie. Still very tense. Still very gross. That dad gets eaten to shit by the critter. When and if we cover this movie on the main feed, because I still am hoping, I will tell my Scarred for Life story about this movie, because this movie did affect me, but I'm not going to share it until we get a guest on. One day. I mean, I'm surprised no one has yet. It's pretty... I could see someone thinking, oh yeah, this is like a Gremlins movie. And it looks like it's made for kids. I mean, it's PG-13, but it's made us look like... It looks like it's kids' movie. It looks like exactly. And again, I think the Gremlins factor as well. Because when was Gremlins? Yeah, it was. I was going to say, I know it was before this one. I didn't know how old. And I mean, the Gremlins did spawn off a whole lot of these types of movies, you know, Critters and Ghoulies and that kind of stuff. But this is definitely one that is considered, you know, we got to rush this to production because Gremlins was such a big hit. It's just, I don't know. You can. I think the Kreitz have a similar sensibility to the Gremlins, but I think they're a little bit more meaner, and they can get away with a little bit more. Like, I was cackling again when the one said "fuck." Like, it's like, oh yeah, they cuss. Fuck. Also, this is directed by Stephen Herrick, who did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the Glenn Close 101 Dalmatians movie, the first Mighty Ducks movie, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, The Three Musketeers, and Mr. Holland's Opus. Yeah. This man has done so many fucking movies. Yeah. And I mean, the sequel also, it was directed by Mick Garris, written by Mick Garris and David who wrote Pitch Black and Riddick and The Fugitive and G.I. Jane. That's the sequel.
And Lynn Shane is in Critters for a little bit.
She's
Sally.
hilarious. She's reading the National Enquirer at one point, and she says, "This says that John Travolta used to be a waitress." Because there's so many like rumors about John Travolta back in the day. The National Enquirer, man.
Her brother was a producer.
Yeah. Bob Shea. Unfortunately, I think that's how she got in a lot of movies at that stage in her career. Nepotism,
100%.
but I love her anyway.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Whatever. And now she's a cool icon, so whatever.
One funny part that really cracked me up, though, on this rewatch was when the sister is making out with Billy Zane in the barn, and the kites fly over and the place shakes, and she's like, "The earth moved," and he's like, "Already?"
And she's like, "Yeah."
Of course, if it was Billy Zane and he was making out with Billy Zane, I'm like, "Yeah, baby, the earth moved." Whatever you want to say, you're just doing it because let's just keep kissing.
I love it. She's like, "We're going out for a drive," and he just wants to fuck in the barn, and she's like drags. I'm like, but I just love it when in these movies you see a woman like dragging a guy up there, because you don't see a lot of like women being sexually forward in movies from this period. So I was like, hell yeah, girl, you get that consensual dick from Billy Zane.
Get it, girl.
Get it, girl. But yeah, I'm so glad I watched Critters. I loved it.
It's so much fun.
So good, and it's so fun. So very, very good time.
The first two are really good. I barely remember the third one, other than the fact that it has Leo DiCaprio in it.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then they go to space in one.
But I mean,
which makes more sense for this franchise than any of the other ones.
Say, that does kind of make sense here. But yeah, so we're back for horror comedies. So what are we watching next week for Little Cuts?
Oh, I'm really excited for this one. We are chatting aliens and zombies and parasites. Oh my, we're chatting Night of the Creeps.
Which so excited.
Is an influential horror film, I would say, for eventually, hopefully, when we get to the 2010s and we talk about Slither. 2010s? 20s. Zeros.
Is it the aughts? Is it the aughts?
Words. When did Slither come out? 2006. Oh, shit.
Okay, it was 2006. Yeah. Okay.
Aughts, not the tens.
The aughts. Wild.
What is time? But
fake.
Oh, and who are we talking with on Monday, Mary Beth? I'm very excited for this one.
Oh, I am so very excited because we're chatting with writer and director William Brent Bell. He is the mind behind iconic aughts slasher film Stay Alive, as well as The Boy, and his latest film is the bonkers Orphan First Kill, prequel to the 2009 film Orphan. And he brought with him a movie I'd never heard of before, but it's fucked up. It's called The Other from 1972. Not To The Others, The Other. 1972, which is a film that more people need to fucking see.
We need to make this film become a thing in 2022, because I, again, like you, had never even heard of it. And I was really glad when they had reached out about this film that they said, not to be confused with Nicole Kidman movie, The Others, because that's immediately what I went to. But no, this movie is awesome. And no one knows about it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So
more people need to talk about this film.
So come for us talking about Orphan First Kill, and stay for us talking about an underrated 1972 gem that the horror genre owes a lot to. We think.
Talk about legacy.
Yeah.
Yes, the horror genre owes a lot to this movie.
So,
but also, I mean, we unfortunately cannot talk about Orphan First Kill because the embargo isn't up yet.
Yeah.
I will just say, we're talking with the director, so we only talk with people that we like.
Yeah,
that's one of the benefits of us. So
take that
as you will.
Take that as you will.
Maybe we'll talk about it next Friday when we're able to, but we are talking with the director. So
yeah, so percolate on that one, y'all. So that about does it for this week's Little Cuts, everybody. You've heard from us. We want to hear from you. Have you watched anything that we have watched and have thoughts? Do you have suggestions for more horror comedies for us to watch? Let us know through email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, or reach out to us directly on Twitter. I am at MB McAndrews.
And I'm at Gaily Dreadful, and I will echo this because we do have a movie coming up that we're going to be talking about because someone on Instagram messaged us about this movie. So if you do message us about movies and tell us this is a movie we want you to cover, we will do it.
We will do it. fuck around and find
Also,
out.
it'll be coming up, so if you've messaged us about a movie, we're getting to. We just haven't got to the year yet.
So, and don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scar Podcast.
And please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe. We are sitting at 98 ratings and reviews. We're almost to that 100.
We're almost
Please
there.
get us there.
Get us there.
Please.
And also subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't. We
Yeah.
put these videos out every week now with Little Cuts video recordings, so check them out. They're fun. Mm-hmm. You can see us be crazy. And also, we keep things in that we don't always put in the audio. So, bonus content, baby.
It's a little bit more of a raw footage.
Yeah, well, thanks, Eric Powers, for the artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for music. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please stay safe out there, but most importantly, stay creepy.
And until next time.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children? Won't somebody please think of the children? Somebody please think of the children!
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is the briefing room?
It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together, we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th. We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.